Okay, so you sent us this info on this TATANKA project.
Yeah.
And wow,
It's a lot.
it's a lot to unpack, right? There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, what's interesting right away, I think, is just the sheer scope of it.
Yeah.
They've got this AI-generated album, 420 tracks, The Flow of Stillness, but that seems to be just like the tip of the iceberg.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and we're seeing all this stuff, like articles about their work with these marginalized communities, and then something called a humanist blueprint on their website.
Right.
Even some mentions of Mauritius's growing tech scene.
Yeah.
It's definitely not your typical music release.
No, it's like they're trying to create a movement around this album, not just like release a bunch of tracks.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
And what really jumps out at me right away is this name TATANKA, which is the Lakota word for buffalo, right?
Right.
And it's a powerful symbol, and they seem to be connecting it to this idea of bridging like ancient wisdom and modern technology.
And that connection to indigenous culture is everywhere.
Yeah.
From the name to the quotes, like they've got quotes from Sitting Bull on their website,
I saw that, yeah.
to their emphasis on working with indigenous communities.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder if they're trying to kind of like reclaim the narrative around AI, showing how it can be used to empower rather than exploit.
Interesting, yeah. And I see what you're saying. And then you've got this 28-hour ambient album generated by AI, which is
Right.
not exactly a format that screams like mass appeal, right?
No.
It makes you wonder who their target audience even is.
Yeah, I think that's a key question that we need to explore today.
Yeah.
Are they aiming for a mainstream audience who might use this music for relaxation or meditation? Or are they targeting a more niche group who is interested in kind of this intersection of AI and art?
Right.
Or maybe both.
Yeah, or both. And it's interesting, too, because they describe the album as a unified, cohesive piece intended to be listened to as a whole. It's almost like a durational art piece, not something you just put on in the background.
Right, and it goes against the grain of how we typically consume music today.
Totally.
Where it's all about playlists and skipping to the next track.
Right.
They're demanding a level of commitment from the listener, which suggests they're trying to create a very specific kind of experience.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, they're based in Mauritius.
Right.
Which is not exactly the first place you think of for a cutting-edge AI music project.
Right, but Mauritius is making a very deliberate push to become a tech hub.
Oh, interesting.
Particularly in AI.
Okay.
So it seems like TATANKA is tapping into this kind of global network of talent and resources.
Yeah.
Maybe even making a statement about how innovation can happen anywhere.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're trying to create this alternative model for how art, technology, and social impact can intersect.
Exactly, and that's what makes this deep dive so intriguing.
Yeah.
We're not just unpacking an album, we're trying to understand a whole new way of thinking about the relationship between music and AI and the future of our world.
Right, so where do we even begin? I mean, we've got this massive album, this humanist blueprint that seems to be their guiding philosophy, and all these threads connecting indigenous wisdom, social justice, and AI. It's a lot to unravel.
Yeah, well, I think a good place to start is with this album, The Flow of Stillness. They call it a sonic exploration of consciousness, which is a pretty bold claim.
It is, yeah.
So what kind of experience are they trying to create with this music, and how does AI factor into it?
Yeah, and we've seen AI-generated music before, but usually it's like, trying to mimic existing genres or create like these catchy pop songs or something.
Right.
This seems different, almost like they're using AI to create something that transcends traditional musical categories.
And to really understand it, I think we need to go beyond just listening to snippets of the music.
Yeah.
They're saying this album needs to be experienced as a whole, which suggests they've built in some kind of narrative or emotional arc over its 28-hour duration.
Right. Yeah, it's a huge commitment for any listener. It's almost like they're asking us to reevaluate our relationship with music itself.
Yeah.
To slow down and really immerse ourselves in the soundscape.
Which brings us back to their choice of genre ambient music.
Right.
It's often used for relaxation or meditation.
Right.
But they seem to be positioning it as something much deeper, almost a tool for personal transformation.
Okay, so it's not just about like relaxing and zoning out. It's about like actually changing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then there's the mystery of the creators themselves.
Yeah.
They talk about Sophia AI being the heart of TATANKA.
Right.
And they list these kind of cryptic names like 𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗪, who seem to be involved with the music.
Yeah, it's almost like they're intentionally obscuring the human element.
Right.
Letting the AI take center stage.
It's a fascinating aspect of the project.
It is.
Are they making a statement about the evolving nature of authorship in the age of AI?
Yeah.
Or is it simply a marketing tactic to generate buzz and intrigue? Yeah. Yeah, it definitely adds to the mystery.
Yeah.
It makes you want to dig deeper and figure out who or what is really behind this whole thing.
Exactly. And I think that's a good place to move on to next.
Okay.
We've talked about kind of the surface level, the music, the name, the location.
Okay.
Now let's dive into this humanist blueprint
Yeah.
and try to understand the deeper philosophy driving this project.
Okay.
What exactly are their goals, and how do they envision this music and technology contributing to a better world?
Because it's one thing to create a cool album with AI.
Right.
It's another thing entirely to claim you're building a roadmap for a better future. So
Exactly.
let's see if their humanist blueprint lives up to the hype.
Yeah. So we've got this humanist blueprint, right? They keep referencing it.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like the core of their philosophy.
Yeah, it's like their manifesto, this vision for a future where technology is used to uplift humanity and not just like generate profits or automate jobs.
Right.
But it's interesting because they talk about incorporating ancient wisdom too, which seems like a pretty unusual pairing with AI, you know?
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah,
They're not just saying like AI is good or AI is bad.
right.
They're looking at it through this lens of interconnectedness,
Okay.
drawing on indigenous philosophies that see technology as part of this larger web of relationships
Okay.
between humans, nature, and the cosmos.
So it's not about rejecting technology, but rather like finding a way to integrate it into our lives in a more like holistic and ethical way.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're saying we need to be mindful of the impact our technology has,
Yeah.
not just on individuals, but on entire ecosystems and future generations.
Yeah.
And they see this humanist blueprint as a guide for doing that.
Okay, so that's like the big picture vision.
Right.
But how does it translate into like actual action?
Yeah.
What are some concrete examples of how they're putting these principles into practice?
Well, one key area they focus on is empowering marginalized communities,
Okay.
particularly indigenous communities. They're working with indigenous artists and musicians,
Right.
providing resources and platforms to share their stories and perspectives.
It's like they're trying to decolonize AI.
Yeah.
Ensuring that these powerful technologies are used to amplify voices that have been historically silenced or exploited.
Exactly. And they're also addressing the very real concerns about bias in AI algorithms
Right.
by involving diverse communities in the development and deployment of AI.
Right.
They're trying to create a more equitable and just technological landscape.
Yeah, that's a crucial point because a lot of the conversations around AI are dominated by a very narrow demographic.
Right.
Like Silicon Valley tech bros mostly.
Exactly.
TATANKA seems to be actively challenging that, bringing in voices from the margins to shape the future of this technology.
And it's not just about representation.
Okay.
They're also tapping into indigenous knowledge systems,
Interesting.
looking for ways to integrate traditional wisdom
Yeah.
into their technological approach.
Okay.
It's a fascinating blend of ancient and modern, and it raises a lot of questions about what a truly inclusive and ethical AI ecosystem might look like.
Yeah, okay, so we've got this focus on social justice and cultural preservation.
Right.
But they also talk a lot about sustainability.
Yeah.
How does that fit into the humanist blueprint?
Well, they recognize that climate change is one of the most pressing issues facing humanity,
Yeah.
and they're committed to using AI to develop solutions.
So it's not just about creating feel-good music, it's about using AI to tackle real-world problems.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're exploring ways to use AI to optimize renewable energy systems,
Okay.
develop more sustainable agricultural practices,
Right.
and protect endangered ecosystems.
Yeah.
They even talk about using AI to monitor deforestation and predict natural disasters.
So it's like they're saying, we've got this powerful tool, AI,
Right.
let's use it to address the biggest challenges facing our planet.
And they're not just focusing on the technological side.
Okay.
They also emphasize the importance of individual action
Right.
and personal transformation. Okay, they believe that creating a sustainable future requires a shift in consciousness,
Yeah.
a recognition of our interconnectedness with nature and each other.
It's not just about top-down solutions.
Right.
It's about empowering individuals to make more mindful choices in their own lives.
Exactly, and that's where the music comes back in.
Oh.
They see the flow of stillness, not just as entertainment, but as a tool for personal growth and reflection.
Right. So it's not just about like putting on some background music while you do the dishes or something.
Right.
They're asking you to really listen,
Yeah.
to engage with the soundscape,
Yeah.
to let it guide you on a journey of inner exploration.
They talk about using the album for meditation,
Okay.
for self-reflection, for connecting with nature.
Yeah.
They even suggest listening to it while watching a sunset or stargazing.
Wow.
It's almost like they're creating a soundtrack for a more mindful and connected way of being in the world.
And that brings us back to their choice of ambient music.
Right.
It's a genre that often evokes a sense of spaciousness, tranquility, connection to something larger than oneself.
And by creating a 28-hour album in this style, they're not just offering a momentary escape.
Yeah.
They're inviting you to step into a different way of experiencing time and sound.
It's like they're saying, slow down, breathe, listen deeply, and let yourself be transformed by this music.
And that transformation, they believe, is essential for creating a more just and sustainable future.
Okay.
They see personal growth and societal transformation as intertwined.
Right. Okay, so their vision is ambitious, to say the least.
Yeah.
But how realistic is it?
That's a good question.
I mean, can music and AI really solve all these problems?
I think it's important to remember that they're not offering a magic bullet.
Right.
They're not claiming that AI or music alone can fix climate change or eliminate social inequality.
Right. It's more about shifting the narrative.
Exactly.
Expanding our understanding of what's possible.
Yeah.
Inspiring people to take action.
Exactly. They're offering a different way of thinking about the relationship between technology, art, and human responsibility.
Okay.
They're showing that AI can be more than just a tool for profit or automation.
Yeah.
It can be a catalyst for positive change.
And that music can be more than just entertainment.
Right.
It can be a tool for personal growth and social transformation.
They're reminding us that we have a choice in how we shape the future.
Yeah.
And that our choices matter.
And that's a powerful message, whether or not you agree with their specific approach.
Absolutely. They're asking us to question our assumptions.
Yeah.
To explore new possibilities.
Yeah.
And to imagine a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around.
So we've talked about the philosophy, the vision, the mission, but at the end of the day, it all comes back to the music.
Exactly.
What does this 28-hour ambient soundscape actually sound like?
Yeah.
And how does it connect to everything we've been discussing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We can analyze their mission statement, unpack their humanist blueprint,
Right.
but ultimately the music itself is the key to understanding what TATANKA is all about.
So let's dive into those soundscapes and see if they live up to the hype.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we've spent all this time unpacking TATANKA's mission, their philosophy, their whole approach to AI and music.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It really is, but now it's time to actually experience the music itself, right?
Right. Let's get to the heart of it.
We've got some excerpts from 420 tracks, The Flow of Stillness, ready to go.
Awesome.
Let's see what these AI-generated soundscapes have to offer.
Okay.
Here's the first one. Listen to how the sounds unfold. It's so subtle, almost like you have to lean in to hear it.
No, that's the beauty of ambient music. It's not demanding your attention. It's inviting you to just be present with the sound.
Right. Yeah, I get that. There's a sense of space, of vastness, almost like you're floating in a void or something.
It's not trying to tell a story or evoke a specific emotion. It's more about creating a sonic environment that allows your mind to wander and explore.
Yeah, I can see why they suggest listening to this for meditation or relaxation.
Definitely. It has a very calming, grounding effect.
Yeah.
But there's also this sense of mystery and depth to it.
I feel that, yeah.
It's like the music is breathing with you, expanding and contracting, pulsing with a subtle energy.
And they incorporate these nature sounds, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like birdsong, wind chimes, water flowing. It's like blurring the lines between the natural and the artificial.
Creates this immersive experience.
It does.
Like you're surrounded by nature, even though you're listening to music generated by a machine.
Right. Okay, here's another excerpt.
Okay.
This one feels a bit different.
Yeah, there's a more melancholic tone to this one.
Right.
A sense of longing or yearning.
Yeah, and it's still very subtle, but you can feel a shift in the emotional landscape.
It's remarkable how the AI can evoke these complex emotions without using any lyrics or traditional melody.
Yeah, it's like the music is speaking directly to your subconscious,
Oh, yeah.
bypassing the need for language or interpretation.
And that ties into their idea of using music as a tool for self-discovery and personal transformation.
Right. They're saying that by listening to these soundscapes, you can access deeper levels of awareness, connect with your own inner world.
And the fact that they're encouraging listeners to experience the entire 28 hours of the album as a unified piece
Yeah.
suggests that there's some kind of narrative or emotional arc embedded within the music.
It's like they're composing a symphony of consciousness,
Wow. Yeah.
taking you on a journey through the full spectrum of human experience.
And that journey is not always going to be pleasant or easy.
Right.
There will be moments of darkness, of sadness, of uncertainty,
Right.
alongside the moments of peace and tranquility.
But by embracing the full spectrum of emotions, they're saying we can come to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world.
It's a bold and ambitious approach.
It is.
And it's certainly not for everyone.
Right, yeah. But for those who are willing to make the commitment to really listen deeply and surrender to the experience,
Yeah.
I think this album has the potential to be profoundly transformative.
And that's ultimately what TATANKA is all about, right?
Yeah.
Using music and AI to create a more just, sustainable, and conscious world.
They're not just creating an album, they're creating a movement.
It really does feel that way.
It does. So after this deep dive, I'm curious, what are your final thoughts? What stands out to you about this project?
You know, what's most compelling to me is their unwavering commitment to using AI for good.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in all the fears and anxieties surrounding AI.
Sure.
You know, job displacement, the potential for bias and misuse.
Right.
But TATANKA is showing us that AI can be a powerful force for positive change.
I think that's really important to remember.
Yeah, and they're using it to amplify marginalized voices, to address environmental challenges, to foster personal growth and connection.
It's a reminder that technology is a tool,
Right.
and it's up to us to decide how we use it.
And I think that's a message we all need to hear.
Definitely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what questions does this leave you with? What are you still curious about?
You know, I'm still fascinated by those mysterious figures, those 𝗧𝗧𗔔𝗓𝗓.
Okay.
They seem to be playing a key role in this project.
Right. Are they human, AI, some kind of hybrid?
Yeah.
We may never know for sure.
And perhaps that's part of the point,
Yeah.
to challenge our assumptions about authorship and creativity in the age of AI.
Right. To embrace the unknown,
Mhm.
be open to new possibilities.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's safe to say that this deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
Absolutely. It's been an incredible journey exploring this intersection of music, AI, and human consciousness.
Yeah. And I have a feeling this is just the beginning of the conversation.
I agree.
So until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
And never stop listening.